Good morning, natural gas. It's Thursday, May the 7th, 2026. I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. And today is storage day. And where expectations are plus 63 for NGI, that goes up against 104 for last year, plus 77 for the 5-year average. And currently, right now, for the spot June contract, we're currently down. We're trading at 268.5, down 4.5 cents or 1.65%. And as you can see, we're still below the 13-period exponential moving average, and the RSI has crossed to the sell side 2 days ago, and now we're continuing the path lower until we get the storage report. This will be a bullish storage report relative to last year, relative to the 5-year average, but we need the weather. And let's take a look at the hourly chart. We are currently below the daily pivot today, which comes in at 273.60. We are holding at the support level here at 268.40. That's exactly where we are right now. And our secondary support comes in at 263.70. The RSI is kind of dredging along the bottom here. It looks like it's a little bit oversold. So we may be down until we get the storage report. And then we may see some short covering before the weekend here and possibility of warmer temperatures. Let's take a look at ERCOT. ERCOT right now, renewables are going to be less than 28,000 megawatts. But guess what? Our total demand right now, 55,921. So that's really quite low for this time of year. We were pushing in the 70s just a week ago. So this is cooler weather because it's overcast and it's rainy in Texas. How about Golden Pass? Well, it's currently 375. Again, that's perfectly normal. This is where it's been for the last couple of weeks. That's good news because guess what? The Eagle has landed. That's right. The HLC Eagle is moored at the Golden Pass LNG facility, loading up on that second cargo. Congratulations. And let's take a look at the first cargo for Golden Pass, and this is actually at anchor. It's sitting at anchor just off the coast of Brussels, and excuse me, Belgium, I should say, not Brussels, but it is looking like it will probably load here, unload here at Zeebrugge. So that's interesting destination right now. It possibly could go into the Netherlands, but it looks like it's going to be Belgium. How about the front to back spreads? Here's the Jan versus the October spread. We're down 8 ticks to 149.70. RSI is trying to cross to the downside. We've kind of got this channel here, possibly an upward facing wedge. So we've got to keep a careful eye on this. Both of them are negative formations. So we've got to keep a careful eye that we don't head further south. Our target then would be 125. And here is the Nomi through March strip. And it is weak again for the third session in a row. We are currently down right now 6 cents here on profit taking. We're at 386.90. We're heading toward that first support we have. That's our recent low at 384.10. So RSI is crossing to the downside. Why the weakness? Super El Nino is in the headlines. So this could be the most impactful El Nino, the strongest one we've had in a century. So the thought here, low natural gas demand this winter for North America. And how about our weather here? This is the anomaly map here. This is for this week going out to the 13th. And as you can see, that cooler temperature from Texas all the way back into the Northeast. Next week, though, it starts to get a little bit warmer here in Texas, all the way through the west, as you can see here. And then we get into weeks 3 and 4, and that heat starts to build in the center part of the country here, centered around the panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, and that continues into the first part of June. That's good news. We may heat up here. This could be a hot summer, especially for Japan, as we talked about, possibly here for the western United States, all the way to the southeast, and then possibly just mild temperatures for winter. So let's take a look at the weather forecast here. As you can see, this is the GFS model. This is going all the way out through here, the forecast period. And as you can see, there's some 90s and hundreds now, 101 starting up in Phoenix, Arizona. There's 103. So we're starting to build that heat to the west, Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, Western Texas, and parts of Florida. So this is good news for natural gas demand as we go through the forecast period here. And as you can see, this takes us all the way through the mid part of May here, all the way out until about the 20th. And that heat starts to build all the way up the East Coast. We start seeing some 90s then up into the Carolinas. That's good news for natural gas demand. How about the heat index? The heat risk here, this is building to the west, as you can see, parts of southern Texas into Florida. This continues for Friday, building more and more heat out west, as you can see, Southern California, Arizona, again, more and more of Florida as we go through the forecast period. And then there's that heat we talked about in the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma, parts of New Mexico. That continues out through the 13th. How about the Europeans? Well, it's fairly mild temperatures here. We start seeing some cooler weather coming through again around the 12th here into the 13th. So that pushes into France, Spain, a little bit of Germany, Poland as well. That continues as we go through the forecast period through the 15th and then starts to warm back up here as we get late in the forecast period out to the 22nd. Only Spain is getting some cooler temperatures off the Atlantic. How about the European storage? Well, it's doing fairly well. It is pushing some more and more gas in here. Sweden obviously is the low contender right now. It only has one storage field, I believe, and it's still below 10% full. So the Netherlands here pushing along steadily here, slow and steady wins the race. But you've got countries like Portugal doing really, really quite well. Spain is doing well. And again, other countries like Italy are doing fairly well. But Germany and France, Germany is actually worse than France here at 27%. So let's take a look at Asia here. Asia is fairly mild, and then it starts to build up with that heat we talked about. You start seeing some warmer temperatures start pushing in here. This is the May the 11th here, and this continues all the way into Beijing, and this pushes out until we get some cooler temperatures showing back up late in the forecast period before that heat starts to build to the west, the west again, and then that will be targeting eastern provinces of China, the Koreas, and Japan. Again, with an El Nino developing here, Japan may see a warmer summer than 2023. So we're going to keep a careful eye on that as well. How about the U.S. nuclear fleet? We're down to 17 gigawatts offline. That's well within the 5-year average. And we've got one nuclear power plant that's coming down from 100% offline right now. So we've only got 2 nuclear units that are fully offline. That includes the Palisades nuclear unit up in Michigan, which is turning around for AI data center demand, hopefully by this summer. Let's take a look at the drought. And this is the big story we've talked about here. Because it's so dry in the west, and particularly also in the southeast, any rising temperatures are going to make it feel really, really uncomfortable. And that drought is in Colorado. These are extreme droughts here, exceptional droughts here in Colorado, parts of Nebraska here, even parts of Wyoming, Texas, Arkansas, and as you can see, a lot of Florida into Georgia and into parts of South Carolina now. So keep a careful eye on this because we really need the rain. And here's the tropical Saharan air layer. As you can see, it's starting to dissipate right now. The winds are starting to come off a little bit here. It's not pulling as much from the Sahara and pushing it out to the southeast, or excuse me, to South America, and then possibly over into the United States. So it's starting to moderate a little bit. How about the stocks? Well, the stocks for the oil and gas E&P sector are all in the red. These are stocks between $2 and $10 billion, have a high short float, over 10%. CNX behind me down 1.64%. So it's a sea of red for the moment, but let's see what happens when the heat comes in. And let's take a look at one of those stocks here. I'm just going to bring up CRK. And as you can see, we're now making a new low here. Currently, right now, down 48 cents to 14.51. And that's below the low we had back in late August of last year. So these stocks, the energy stocks, this is natural gas stock, are at bargain basement prices right now. So create your list on this weakness. This might be a good time to start nibbling on some of these energy stocks because the heat will come in, the demand will come in, but you've got to be patient. And also we got to get through winter, which could be pretty mild. So again, recapping here, this is the spot June contract. We're currently trading at 268.80, down 4.2 cents. or 1.54%. Again, expectations, NGI is looking at plus 63. That compares to plus 104 last year, plus 77 for the 5-year average. So this will be a bullish storage report today. Let's take a look at what happens. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.